Emily, welcome.
Yay. Thank you.
Yay. Listen, somebody who's a woman, entrepreneur, on the big mission to create life on her terms, what do you think would be the main takeaway, or what you would like to be the main takeaway from our conversation today?
Oh, start with a big one. Why don't you? Main takeaway. I usually, I usually find like as we go, the conversation takes us where it's meant to go, and then that thing comes, right? But as someone female entrepreneur on a mission, believe in magic.
Ah, very cool. And so you are saying magic exists?
Fuck yeah. And I'm very much leaning into it more and tapping into it more and seeing it more and aware of it more and open to it more, and then yeah, more of it's just coming in, and it's just I think that um a lot of my journey and women's journeys that I see, transformation, self-change, what I focus on, but I really do believe that it starts with belief and like what you believe
Mm.
and digging into your belief systems. And a lot of entrepreneurship, it's self-limiting beliefs and the business limiting beliefs, and it's at the end of the day, it's kind of what we believe. um, and believing in magic, I think, has been a really big thing for me on this journey. I believe that my business building journey is a self-development journey, which has actually become a spiritual development journey. So
That's what we all discover, don't we? Having your
mhm.
own business is the biggest spiritual school, personal growth school, whatever school you
And
can
I'm
have
like
a.
former skeptic, so it was a real like initiation for me where at first I was really freaking out. I was like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? This is crazy. I don't understand what's happening. But now I'm getting used to it. So
Okay, I was gonna ask you something else, but now that you mentioned, I was freaking out. What was it? What were you freaking out about?
the first thing I think was angel numbers. The
Oh,
angel numbers really freaked me out because I'm former skeptic, anti religion, anti, like, I grew up in a family where psychology is perceived as a bullshit field and emotions are for pussies and God doesn't exist and very anti religion. That was the environment that I grew up in. And so for me, to then start experiencing stuff that's unexplained, i.e., magic, like actual definition of magic is unexplained phenomenon, right? So for me to start experiencing this stuff, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? And so angel numbers was the first thing.
wow.
Yeah, when I started my
Cool.
business, I just started seeing angel numbers all day, every day, like any clock, the microwave clock, the oven clock, the normal clock, my watch, my phone, and it was just like,
Oh my God,
at
you
first I was like, am I
might.
being punked? Like, is this a prank? Like, is someone doing this somehow? Like, what is like? Because it was beyond coincidence. Because it was so
I
often. Like, I have
know.
screenshots on my phone
Me
of
too. So
back then
you
in
are my angel
2020.
name number sister because it's everyday
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's almost
By the
my
way, the
middle name,
last
and people
48
around
hours
me,
has been insane.
yeah, people
Crazy.
around me are like, I don't know, some of them start seeing numbers too after spending some time with me. But like even like my phone is on the desk, right? And all of a sudden, for no reason, the screen lights up and it's 10:10.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there
I'm
is
like,
no message, nothing, just the screen
yeah, I
actually.
just want to check my phone. It's 2:22. There's no clock around me. There is no way of me subconsciously,
Yeah,
subliminally kind of feeling into what the time could be. Like, no, I just picked the phone up because I'm like, hold on, I want to check something. I don't know. I just felt the urge, and it's 2:22. And then I walk into the kitchen, and the oven is the wrong time, but it's 5:55. But it's not, it's like 11 in the morning,
or
but
you
it's
wake up
5:55.
in the morning. Has it happened to you? Like I wake up in the like at night, it's 3:33.
3:33, yeah. Three in the morning, three, 4 in the morning, like 3 in the morning is really like witching hour. I don't know. That happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they say even in marketing, think of what your avatar is thinking at 3 a.m. I wonder where did that come from, you know?
True. Good point. But yeah, so that was my first initial like initiation into the world of woo, I guess. But for me, it's just into magic. It was like, okay, something is going on here, and then just kind of went from there.
So I totally did not expect, the
This direction.
conversation to start about angel numbers,
True.
but it's really cool, and let's see how we can actually drive that point home and relate it to everything else that we are talking about, right? But what I was actually, when I was thinking about you and about this conversation, what I was picturing every time was your baby
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
how you were changing
The
his
nappy.
nappy in front of the camera as we spoke, you know.
Very
And,
unprofessional.
you know, I am really, really glad that that happened
Yeah.
because it directly relates to the topic of female entrepreneurs and all the challenges they are facing. And you mentioned a few things about your life as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so, we'll dive into how you've been overcoming, what challenges you've been facing, because, and I remember I was telling you, right, that I discovered that so many women are capped not by strategy. Well, okay, relatively. Okay, there are slower strategies, there are faster, there are weaker strategies, there are more powerful strategies, which is why I teach the more powerful strategies. And definitely they're not capped by what they are capable of, right? Definitely. So I was digging a lot and I was pulling out all the numbers and the statistics, and women are capped by life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on. So I am on this mission to first, um, what strategies can women like that use? And so that they can get results faster with less effort
Mm-hmm.
and time. And also because you know that you need to be the person who can do the thing to have the thing. So obviously what it means being the person, how to be that person, and how to even achieve it given the circumstances, the
Mm-hmm.
busy circumstances, right? Like yourself, okay, baby in front of the camera, you know, the real reality, right? Something that is not talked about in this industry. It's almost like there is so much shame around it, as in, like, talking about your own circumstances. It's as if like you are looking for excuses, you are telling you can't do something, blah blah blah, all those that kind of stuff. That's bullshit. I was uh, I was trapped in that mindset myself, but obviously, things needed to change and something surfaced. So what do you think? What do you think about what are the challenges for you? And you mentioned the annual breakdown, something like
Yeah.
that.
My annual meltdown.
Meltdown.
Okay, so first of all, I think it's interesting. Like when I hearing you say the like women are capped by life, and then I say, well, why don't we question that? Is that potentially a self-limiting, biz-limiting belief, right? But it is in our conditioning. Obviously, like the system is kind of rigged towards men are just they have more time. It's maternity leave, not paternity leave. Now, paternity leave is more of a thing, but it's maternity leave, right? And in some countries, maternity leave, I think in America, it's like 3 weeks or 3 months or something
It's
ridiculous,
very
right?
short. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. So like unnatural. Um, But yeah, I
Yeah, it's
do.
harmful. I would say let's just be
It's
honest.
like inhumane.
I
I
think
really,
it's
yeah,
harmful.
it
I
is
think
harmful.
I actually think it's abusive.
Hmm. Mm. But even the fact that women's cycles and periods are not,
Hmm?
part of the discussion either. Now I think
Right?
some countries are giving women 3 days off or something for period. I think I believe that we are part of a movement, part of a in the time, like there's always every generation has its movement, has its revolution, have it has its changes, so it was like women's rights, and then what's happening now is the next level of it, right, where it's
Mhm.
really actually tapping more into women's nature and just human needs in general, right? And I think that that's the
Mm.
next kind of phase that we're going through. But I do feel that working with women, I can say I was conditioned to believe you've got to be professional and you've got to show up like this and like this, but it's also respecting people's time, right? Like if I arrange to have a chat with someone or call with someone at a certain time, but then my baby's freaking out, then it's like, okay, I want to respect your time and you're waiting. So I want to be, and that doesn't feel professional because this isn't a business, conversation. Um, but what I have found is that working with women, especially with mums, but just women in general, they're very, very understanding. I think the last 2 or 3 weeks I booked in like quite a few calls. I had like 15 calls in the last 2 weeks. And every single one, if I'd said, I may need to, please, can you be a bit flexible just in case? I'll let you know if baby doesn't nap, if he's this, if he's that, if I need to change. Every single woman has been like, don't worry, of course, no worries, la la la. Like, so understanding, so kind, so okay with it. And some of the calls I had to just do voice calls, not a video call, while I had the baby. And they've just been like, why don't you take baby for a walk and we'll have a chat while you're walking, or we'll chat
Mm.
later. Like they've been even trying to like help me out, give me tips on like what I could do. Like really just really, really kind and understanding and considerate and compassionate. And I feel like when it's women with women, um maybe particular demographic and in a particular kind of space, but the women in my circle and the women that I know and that I'm like attracting into my world, they're just really, really kind women, and they get it, so it hasn't stopped me. If anything, it's actually been quite liberating and pleasantly surprising to me. I'm like, oh wow, like this is doable and this is okay, and it's more than okay. It's actually now making me feel really grateful and really like seen, and it's actually a beautiful thing.
Mm. Yeah, and also, we can talk about the level of professionalism, whatever that actually means when you like really think about it. What
True.
what does that even mean? Who defined it?
Uh-huh.
What's professional? What's not?
Yeah.
You know,
It's actually really professional to show up to a call that you've committed to with the baby changing his nappy because
I
I
think
want to have the
so.
conversation. That's really professional,
And
actually.
you know what I find like, the way for example, when I teach people, okay, sell on camera, right? One to many. And obviously people freak out. Oh, I'm not a good speaker, whatever. But then I show them my very first video that I did.
I'd love to see
It's
it.
like I don't know, like it's crazy. It's so bad. But then it gives people permission to just do it, and same with you, right? You show up with your baby
Hmm.
and not somewhere far away, right in front of the camera, big picture, with a nappy, and it gives women permission to do something similar, to stop overthinking and analyzing and perfecting, you know.
Yes. I mean, I remember one of the first calls I had back from this baby. Um, I said, look, I might have to have baby on the call with me. And he was a little bit younger, so he wasn't like as fussy or anything. He was more just like static, not as my body's a little one. And she said, no, 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 I want you to bring him to the call because I want to have babies and I want to see what it looks like being an entrepreneur as a mother. Like, bring the
Mm,
baby to the call. And I'm like,
mm,
okay. And so I did. But I also remember having a colleague of mine where we'd have calls or she'd be on her master classes while nursing. She's like doing her workshop and the baby's just on the boob, and you can't even tell that the baby's there because she was like this unicorn baby though. Like it was, she would come to all the calls. She was just already used to being on the calls with her mum, that she would just be nursing and then quiet and or sleep or whatever. And I was just like, where did you get this baby from? Like, this is a unicorn baby. My
Mm,
baby is one now and he's feral. Like, he's a wild baby. Like that, he's not quiet. And he wouldn't let me talk. The only time he's quiet is if we're out walking. So I can take a call outside. But I do feel as well that when it comes to motherhood and working, there's like a level of like capacity for your nervous system as well, like how much you can really hold in the moment, and knowing when to rest and knowing
mm,
when to say yes to something, knowing when to, the boundaries around that as well, and
mm.
just navigating that. Because if your nervous system is fried because you got children screaming and crying and this and all everybody's needs around you, and like it is hard to navigate that and then serve. But that's why I'm really about mission driven businesses, because if it's mission driven, then it actually gives you energy. Like it really does.
Mm.
It serves as a life force. Like I love my work. It gives me a break from
That's,
mommyhood, and it really gives me energy. Like
oh my
I could
God,
be
that's so
feeling
good.
shit, but then I have a call and I'm like, yay, fun mom's back. Like I like that gave me a boost and I'm cool now, like I woo. And it reminded me of who the fuck I am and what I'm doing and how awesome everything is and la 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 la, because sometimes motherhood can be really heavy and draining. So yeah, I
Exactly.
actually, you know what? Even more than that, I would like to say that I think my work actually helped me get through motherhood, the hard bits. Because I can tell you the first year of motherhood with I've got three kids. The first one, that first year of being a mum for the first time mum, I had postnatal anxiety. I was so full of fear. My fear of like fucking up, getting it wrong. I just really, really was scared of doing something wrong and keeping this baby alive. And, first time around. And I really feel that having something else to focus on and to keep me kind of lit up, and like let's say breastfeeding the first few months was excruciating pain. So I would be writing my content and posts and like doing my thing while breastfeeding, and it would get me through the pain. It would like get me like it would mind over
Mm.
matter a bit. Like literally it has, I think that my work has helped me get through the harder bits of motherhood.
I relate. Actually, I think I used to even post about it that, getting into my business corner. I didn't have an office back then. It was it was me time for
Yeah.
me, But so for the context,
Mm-hmm.
how do you work with people? What do you do?
So I'm a mentor and consultant and coach. So it's a bit of a hybrid service. But I'm formally trained as an organizational consultant, and I decided to try and bring that into the self development space and the coaching industry space. And so it's consulting, but this is the organization that I consult for. And then now, 5 years later, sixth year now in business, I'm focusing on working with female entrepreneurs. But this is the business that we want to focus on. And then your business is an extension of this. Um,
Right.
so, yeah.
And so for the ones just listening, she's showing
Oh,
her,
sorry.
at herself,
This was your business.
that, that
Your inner,
it's
your
the you,
psyche,
it's
your
the
system.
you.
Yeah, the business
Yes.
of you.
So what is different about what you bring on the table for these women?
I think two main things probably stand out as main differentiators. One is the approach itself as a consultant. So I tailor the solutions to your specific needs, and that could include referring out. So if we see that, oh, you want, you're dealing with XYZ and that's not something that I specialize in, then
Mm,
I will refer you to, the right person.
mm,
I'm a consultant. So I come in, I look at your problems. They're actually symptoms or solutions to deeper problems. We get to the deeper problem, then we see best practices. We customize a solution for you. So it could be, I've got a whole toolbox that I like to use, but we can also find new things together that are out there that maybe I haven't used before, but I mentor and coach through the process as well. And again, refer out if needed to refer out. So that's one differentiator. It's the approach itself. I have my own. I've derived like my own modality from the consulting model too. It's called metatherapy. Um, and then the other piece is the mentorship piece. So it's the fact I've really found this really efficient and effective instead of having just weekly sessions, which is the usual like therapy or coaching or counseling. It's like a weekly session. I have like access all the time, like unlimited, like in between calls during the week. Like there's access to me on the go because I believe that that's I really struggled having to wait for the session to talk about something or to bring something up. And then by the time the session came around, I forgot what it was or like whatever it is. I
mhm,
really find that having higher proximity is a bit of a game changer. So that's
mm,
the second main difference, I think.
mm. Yes, so actually, I would like to talk more about your own modality.
Yep.
And you call it MTM?
Metatherapy, MTM, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about it. Tell me what's different about it comparing to, well, and we chatted about I throw stones a little bit at the mainstream personal development for some reason, so we could talk about that too. And I imagine your stuff is something different.
Yeah, well, the way I did it is I was in. Okay, I'll start at the beginning. So I was a patient in the mental health system for years, for over a decade, and I found that traditional mainstream talk therapy, meds, the traditional route, I found that very limiting. I think as a first port of call, like as you're struggling, trauma, you're in crisis, whatever, then that is a very important step. The talk therapy and meds, if needed to function, then okay, I get it. And that's all, I'm not bashing that in any way. I think that it's a very important option and stage. But then it comes to a point where you've talked about your shit for years, and it's like I've gone over this so many times. Like
Mm,
I know what happened to me. Like I get it. So I'm very self-aware. Like I know all the shit that I'm dealing with. The meds are not really doing anything, or like I want to be okay without the meds. And I just really wanted tools, and I really wanted to understand what was happening, and I just wanted to change. I just really wanted to be different and feel different. Um, and so I decided to kind of take matters into my own hands, and I just started studying informally and then formally. But I did a deep dive into self help, self development. And I started with all the mainstream, Tony Robbins and all the like main ones at first. But then I went deeper and deeper and just really got into more like the different theories and the different ideas. And to be honest, I was also very much inspired by reading people's autobiographies. Not big thought leaders and whatever, just people's lives, like journeys of transformation. And I was like, oh wow, like people can change. So this is
mm,
possible. Beliefs again, right? Like so people can change. That's the first thing. Um, but then um, as I started to make changes in my own life, I then realized I wanted to make a difference in the world. I wanted to sign up. And so I signed up for my master's in organizational behavior and development to learn how to solve problems in organizations. So that's where it kind of began. And I was trying to apply everything I was learning to society as the organization as opposed to a company. And so, because I was trying to solve world problems, right? So I was there trying to apply everything I was learning to the world and then in society. And I very much dream of one day being a social engineer. I really want to try and help re structure redesign society basically. But I got to the conclusion that the root cause of the world's problems, it's all rooted in generational trauma and social conditioning. And so then my PhD was going to be in collective trauma. But then, and while I was doing all this, I realized that I was actually solving my own problems. I no longer suffered from my mental health disorders. I had been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, borderline personality disorder. I'd been struggling with alcoholism for years, and I was now sober, healthy, in a healthy relationship and stable relationship. I wasn't suffering from any of the symptoms with PTSD. I wasn't having panic attacks or night terrors or any like rage outbursts, like none of the things that I'd been suffering from for years and years. Everything seemed to have changed, to have gotten better. And then with the postnatal anxiety, that was probably the first time I actually saw it like happening, that I was using the consulting model for my master's on myself. So
Mm.
the consulting model for organizational consultants is analyze, collect data, analyze what the problem is, realize that it's a symptom of a deeper problem, get to the root, diagnose that, and then you prepare like a diagnostic intervention. So it can be you learn about best practices, what have other companies done to solve these problems, and then you customize a solution. It could be workshops and executive coaching and whatever. And I was like, this is a genius process. Like, this is really smart and really simple. Why don't we apply it to ourselves? And I realized I
Mm.
actually was doing it not intentionally, but I was like, oh shit, I'm actually like, I'm collecting data, I'm analyzing my symptoms, realizing that there's a deeper problem, what that deeper problem is, and then learning what other people do about it, and then picking the thing that feels most aligned with me, like to try and implement. So that's how the first bit kind of developed. So it became a 4-step process framework: investigation, diagnosis, education, application. And that's the problem solving model that I use. That's what I use in my coaching. Someone comes to me with a problem, investigate the symptom, diagnose the real problem. I'm already pretty educated on these kinds of problems, so I already have an idea of what kind of practices are, what's the right tool to use for what the right thing, and then we apply. That's basically it. Very, very simple, very effective, very efficient. And at the same time of um, launching my services, I saw that there was also, I did like a content analysis on self-development, psychology, coaching, like the whole kind of industry, wellness industry, and I realized that there were 4 main themes. Across the board, everyone covers in some way or another commitment, commitment to a change, commitment to a process, commitment to themselves. What commitment is one. Curiosity, positive inquiry, appreciative inquiry, asking questions, leading questions, whatever. So curiosity, conditioning, obviously, and conditions. So I looked across the board. There were 5 main conditions that came again and again and again and again: sleep, nutrition, movement, self-expression, creativity, play, and emotional support. So those were the main, I call them the big 5. So
Mm.
4 main themes. One of them is the big 5, but 4 main themes that then sat really nicely on top of my idea model, because it belongs to curiosity and conditioning, with conditions at the center, commitment around the whole thing. So I was just like, ha, this is an actual thing. Like, this is
Mm.
it. It all like it became this beautiful thing. And then that's literally what I use as my approach with my clients, and with my one-on-one clients that have completed like a full package with me. I I I don't
So,
like to say this, but 100% success rate. Like, as in, every person that came in with whatever issue, they left after a package with me like with significant improvement in,
sounds amazing.
yeah. And so I'm very excited about it, because I was like, at first, oh, this is what for me, but maybe it's just for me because I'm me, like, and I'm doing it for myself. Let's see if it works for other people. And yeah, it kind of developed and evolved as
Mm.
I went. And
Mm.
I, now 6 years later, it's something that I teach and that I share about, and I hope to publish it one day soon. I'm now doing my PhD, by the way, in self change. So
Wow.
I'm not studying my model per se, because it's too big, it's too broad, like it covers too many different areas for a PhD. So I might have to do that postdoc, but yeah.
That's really, really cool. So I'm wondering, what challenges do women come to you to solve?
in theory, anything and everything, from insomnia and anxiety issues to depression to relationship problems, and unfulfillment, lack of fulfillment, feeling lost, lack of clarity, lack of confidence, self esteem, like any kind of thing. It literally could be anything, but now I'm focusing on working with online entrepreneurs. I found that over the years, more and more were actually online entrepreneurs. And I think it's also just the nature of the space that I'm in anyway, as an online entrepreneur. So it just kind of worked out that way that
Mhm.
they're the ones online, they're the ones that are looking for help. So it kind of happened that way and evolved into that. But always from the get go, from day one, I said, I want to help people who want to help people. And I didn't at the time feel confident enough yet, I guess, to help work with entrepreneurs and business owners because
Mhm.
I was a newbie entrepreneur. And so now, 6 years later, where I feel like I've got a couple of years behind me, I feel comfortable now just like focusing on that. And I've had enough experience with the online entrepreneur world. So now I explicitly focus working with online entrepreneurs. But again, the things that they come up, like they come saying, oh, we want to work on our business. We want to work on fulfilling our potential and pursuing our thing, but the work is actually the inner work. It's the operating system. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, let's see what the
Yeah.
problem is. Let's
Yeah.
get to the root.
So what problems do you see most of the time? Like what are there any
Self-limiting
patterns?
beliefs, conditioning and trauma. Again, like that's the root of it,
Yeah.
but it's self-limiting beliefs is a
What
big
kind
one,
of
but that's
self-limiting
rooted in
beliefs?
conditioning and trauma.
Can you name a few limiting beliefs?
Imposter syndrome is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
But low lack of self-confidence, lack of self-esteem, lack of boundaries. Um, yeah, those were like procrastination is quite a big one. Perfectionism, people pleasing. Those are all the main ones. Self-doubt.
People pleasing and boundaries. Yeah, so all of those are well known, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But what you mentioned there, people pleasing and boundaries, I don't think that, you know, well, I can hear people talking about boundaries a little bit, but it's not that common, but I think it's very important. And I think it's part of the problem when we talk about the actual reality women entrepreneurs are in as they build their business and not being able to set boundaries or not even seeing that they're not doing it.
But it doesn't even have to be that explicit. I think what I found is that the connections aren't necessarily that obvious. Like I had someone come to me with a binge eating problem, for example. And the binge eating isn't the problem. It's a solution to a deeper
Mhm.
problem, right? It's like the
Mhm.
symptom of the problem, of the actual problem. But it's actually a solution because the binge eating was the comfort. It was the thing that you could depend
Mhm.
on, that you could go to, the escapism, the numbing, whatever. So, like an addiction, right?
Yeah.
So, that was actually the solution. The deeper problem was a lack of boundaries. Like, there wasn't that,
Mhm.
like, I'm being held, I'm being seen, I'm being whatever, because I was just people pleasing and giving everyone
Mhm.
everything, all of me. And so you get to your limit and then I'm just going to go binge, right? So it was the boundary work was the work that needed to be done. And then all of that, because that wasn't no that wasn't in the awareness, right? So it was just a problem with the binge eating, and then that got in the way of the business because she didn't believe in herself enough, she didn't trust herself enough,
Mhm.
she had imposter syndrome, that how could she help other people if she couldn't figure this out, like, so it was, you sometimes don't even see the connection, but it's like business development is self-healing on steroids. Like it's
Mhm.
self-development on steroids.
True.
Like in order to build a business, you're gonna have to face everything. Like all of your shit
True.
is gonna come up, right? And yeah, and I find that the connection is just like it's all connected. It really is all connected.
I mean, so good you mentioned that. And I think this is something that says that that's why you need a coach or a mentor, to do this kind of work because
Blind
in
spots,
many
right? Everyone
cases
talks
you
about
can
blind
see
spots, but
your
it's like, well,
problem.
yeah, when we're so
You,
close to it and we're so in it, we can't connect those dots. And
but I mean, you beat yourself for the obvious for binge eating,
mhm.
right? You can get rid of that. right? And then the problem is apparently something completely different. And
And they've
also,
been focusing for years on the binge eating, and they go to the
mm,
traditional mainstream coaching, therapy, whatever for binge eating, and it's the
right.
focus on the
Oh my
binge eating,
God.
on the binge eating. And I'm just like, you're focusing on the wrong thing. The binge eating. Like it was so I'm like, I intuitively coach now when I go through these things, but the kind of things that come up is, okay, I love personifying. So I like to personify the habit, the self-sabotaging pattern. Let's personify it, right? So this, but she's and it would be like, I want this person to fuck off and leave me alone. And I'm like, okay, but you're the one going to the person the whole time. Like, you're the one that's going to like that
Mm,
person is the one person that has always shown up for you. That person is the
mm,
one person that you can depend
mm,
on, that you can actually trust more than anyone else. And it's like, when you look at it that way, it's just like, oh shit, you know? And so that, like, that's the kind of, it's just looking at things differently.
mm-hmm. Wow, that's actually very interesting. How do you dig for, for those root causes?
I ask a lot of questions. Pillar number one, curiosity. I dig
Mm,
and dig and dig. Like, now, because I've done it so many times, and and I think also because I do the work myself. So I feel that that's my what do you call it? My unfair advantage is that as a mentor, I
mm,
live through all of, like, I practice what I preach, and I have probably been there, done it, got the t-shirt, like, because I've struggled with so many different things. Um, in my life, like, I've had the eating disorders, and I've had the mental health disorders, and I've had the relationship problems, and I've had the addictions. Like, I've been through so many different things that literally I could probably relate to anyone's kind of struggle. And so then it's very easy for me to be like, okay, that's,
mm.
like, I can put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you're feeling like this probably, and you feel like, and I check that, obviously, like, is it this, could it be this, could it be that, and then yeah, so I'm pretty quick at getting to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is a different topic, but what I'm also seeing in the industry among women, especially, and when I work with them to create offers and to deliver value to the marketplace, almost nobody ever values their own experience.
It's my ultimate qualification.
I know, right?
Lived experience is the ultimate qualification.
We and and it happened to me as well, and maybe on some level still happens sometimes, it goes unnoticed somewhere, somehow, some aspects of it, oh, what I know, everybody knows. It's like, right? Or who could be interested in this kind of thing? Or
Hmm.
who am I to talk about this? Happens all the time. So that's what, and by the way, I'm curious about the outcome of working with that woman who had a binge eating problem. What happened?
She's working on her boundaries. It's a lifetime of,
Right.
pattern to change. And so the boundary work is ongoing. But I think just the awareness and shifting the approach to things. She's working on her business building. Um, but yeah, it's the thing is, as well, is that people, even like me, I'm saying as well, like, we expect, like, oh, okay, now I'm aware of it, now I see it, boom, it's going to change. And it's like, no.
Mm,
Now you got to do the reps. Now you got to put in the reps. Like, just because you're
mm.
going to lift weight, if you lift weights you'll get like muscles, doesn't mean that it happens. Okay, because I get how
Yeah.
that works. It's like, no, now you have to go every day and actually lift the weights. So yeah, it's a work in progress, but it's
And I'm
progressing.
just wondering then, so I think boundaries is such an important topic, and I don't know if I've talked a lot about it on the podcast yet. So I'm just curious as well, what kind of boundaries are we talking about? Is it in her family, social life, business? What kind of boundaries? Or
Well, I mean, I don't want to be sharing too much, obviously, because this is,
maybe just
confidential
it's
client.
not right, but
But I think that
categories or
I can speak from my experience with my life, right? So for me, I also had to work a lot on boundaries, and that's even around my own time and getting my needs met that's a boundary as well. It's just like there's only so much I can give to my children, to my husband, to my parents, to my friends, to my whatever, like to my client. Like it isn't just business boundaries. I think it really does start with who you are, right?
Mm,
So if you're someone who is a people pleaser, and that means you don't have very good boundaries, you're going to say yes to everyone and everything, then you're going to burn yourself out very quickly.
mm,
That's going to happen in your business if that's the way you are in your life, potentially. Like, so practicing having those boundaries, even if it is like I used to very much be the yes man. I used to just I wanted to people please. And, if someone asked me for a favor, or if someone asked me for help with something, or if someone, you know, even I'm trying to think with business as well, like people, I just want to help everyone. I want to help and I want to give and I want to
mhm.
give and I want to give. And there's like, okay, but I need to fill up my cup. Like otherwise I won't have anything to give. And I'm a manifesting generator and all my centers are defined. So I actually have a lot to give. I can take a lot without burning out. I can give a lot without burning out. But
Yeah.
um but eventually we're human and we will burn out. And so I think it's boundaries. I mean, for me, probably the biggest boundary right now, even that I'm working on, is sleep. Like I need to sleep. And that's a boundary with me, with myself. Like, Emily, you need to be going to sleep before midnight, like 10, 11 max. That is
Same.
it. And that's a
I have that
boundary with
thought.
myself, right? And I tell myself off, but it's boundaries with yourself as well. And then the thing is, what I found with boundaries, and this, you might like this one, I love a reframe, but boundaries for me is connected to discipline. And boundaries and discipline, I believe, are kind of, they're words that are and concepts that have negative connotations around it. They feel a bit heavy. They feel like limiting, like confining. Like
Totally. Yeah.
if I'm, to be disciplined means to be, well, disciplining in the dictionary also means to like authoritative,
Mm-hmm.
but to be disciplined and to be boundaried is like, like it feels confined. And I find that it's actually the opposite. Um, because if you don't have boundaries, then you are then powerless to whatever it is around you. Like that thing controls you, whatever it may be. So like let's say it's scrolling addiction at night, and staying up late. So like that's controlling me. That has power over me if I don't have a boundary. So the boundary actually frees me from the control of like that control me. I take back the
It's
control.
like a filter actually. It's a filter for
Mm-hmm.
what you're not gonna do anymore, what you shouldn't do.
Yeah, but it's empowering and then freeing from the thing that
That's
without the
it.
boundary that controls you. So you're actually more limited and confined without the boundary in a way. And there was another thing about boundaries that I heard someone, this was a parenting coach, I think, that I found someone, she said this and I loved it. So she said, imagine you're crossing a bridge at night, but there's a really steep fall. There's no sides to the bridge and there's no street lights. So you can't see anything. And you just know that there's a bridge there that you need to cross. And how confidently are you going to cross that bridge? You're not going to be very confident in crossing that bridge. You're going to be probably stuck and frozen. Like, I'm too scared to cross. Like, I can't see the boundaries, right? I don't want to fall off the side. Whereas if you have a fence and you have the light and you can see the
Mm,
boundaries, then you can zoom along. You probably won't even think about it. You'll just go. So
mm,
boundaries for children give them confidence. It's like they
love
know where they
that.
stand. They know what's right, what's wrong, what's allowed, what's not. Like, I can go from here to here. Cool, I can run. And so boundaries are actually something that we really do like, and that they free us. They give us confidence, and they really do. They give us the structure, and it's not confining. It's actually liberating. So for me, that was really helpful around boundaries and discipline.
I totally love that reframe.
Yeah, the power of a reframe. I love reframes.
So it's like it's a safety net. It's like it's some sort of a guard. Yeah, yeah, I love
Boundaries are
that.
your best friends.
It's really good.
And I used to have zero boundaries. Like growing up as a teenager, as even in my 20s, I remember thinking that I was very cool because I had no boundaries. I was crazy and anything goes, and we can just go nuts and we can do whatever we want and because I have no boundaries. And I was very proud of having no boundaries. And yeah, my life looked the way it looked.
And you know what's interesting as well? So most of the time when people talk about boundaries, they talk about boundaries between them and someone else, other
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is much broader. This
Mm-hmm.
is everything, conditions, circumstances, your own habits,
Mm-hmm.
um, anything.
And I say it really does begin even boundaries with yourself. Like, what do I permit and what do I not permit? What is allowed, what isn't allowed? And the way people treat you is how you're allowing, like, how people treat you is a reflection of what you're allowing, what you're not allowing, what your boundaries are, you know? So if you don't have good boundaries, people are going to treat you like shit because you're allowing it, or they're going to take you for
Right.
granted or take advantage of you. And then you're going to be resentful. Then you're going to be like,
It's so cool. Actually, I'm gonna tweak my own method a little bit to include some
boundaries
wording.
is a big one for
I
women,
do have
especially
setting
because,
I do have setting standards
mm-hmm,
in one sub-step of my method, setting standards, but boundaries probably speak better. The word boundary speaks better, and also, right, it includes everything, not just people.
standards are
Yeah.
good too.
Standards, yeah.
Yeah.
So, part of the explanation can be one or the other,
Mm-hmm.
anyway. So, yeah, that's really cool. Boundaries is something. Okay, so the other question is then, and I love this topic. The other question is then, how does somebody even see? Like, I remember when I woke to the concept of boundaries. Because one day when everything was too much, blah, 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 something happened, I don't know. And I was like, okay, I gotta stop doing this. I gotta stop listening to these people. I'm gonna stop, whatever that surfaced. And then I realized I didn't even see I was doing it. I was not having boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you even, and I'm sure there are places in my life, aspects in my life where I'm still not seeing certain things, certain not existence of boundaries.
Usually, I'd say like if you're feeling there's a few parameters that are indicative that boundaries are missing. If I remember correctly, it's resentment, and being taken advantage of.
Mm,
Um, there might be another one. I'll have a look if I can find it.
resentment could be a good one to explore. Yeah, so somebody,
If you're feeling
you,
resentful of people, then usually you don't have boundaries there. And if you feel
mm.
taken advantage of, and I guess probably also depleted. If you feel very depleted, exhausted, drained, then that's also boundaries.
Okay, so speaking about people and setting boundaries with people, what are some cool ways to do it? Because I know it might be quite challenging for women, especially where they think they suddenly have to be maybe not necessarily aggressive, but maybe it will be mean, and also it
Yeah,
might actually hurt back
yeah.
because there are people they don't want to be set, set boundaries for.
So there's a few things with that. First of all, if you haven't had boundaries and suddenly you start setting boundaries, some people are not going to like it. And the people that benefited from your lack of boundaries are really not going to like it. And you
Gonna
will
be
be met
pissed
with probably
off.
quite a bit of resistance and pushback and even conflict. And so setting boundaries is one thing, maintaining it is another thing. Like even with
Mm,
children, right? Like I can say no to my kid, but then it starts crying. My kid starts crying and
mm,
whining and pushing and pushing and pushing. I struggle maintaining that no, right? Like I might break, and that's not good. And so there's setting boundaries, and then there's maintaining boundaries. There's also even like with both. Um, we can feel very guilty. I think guilt is a big one when it comes to setting and maintaining boundaries and boundary work with women specifically. We feel very guilty, like, but I don't want to upset them and I don't want to offend them, or I should be able to do everything and I should be able to give and I should be able to, blah, 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 you know. And so guilt is a big driver, and that can very much get in the way. And then it's like the idea of when you start boundary work, then there's it's like a completely new muscle that you're using. Like, you know, when you work out and suddenly you're like, ow, I didn't realize I had muscle there. Like that hurts, you know? Like suddenly there's this new muscle in my butt that I was not aware of, right? it's the same thing like with boundary work. Suddenly you'll be like, oh shit, I'm feeling really, really guilty, or really, really, this is so, there's a lot of resistance around it, right?
Mhm.
And the idea is that you got to work through that and be aware that that's going to come up. There's a lot of mental resistance anyway when we change anything because we don't like change. Um, but with boundaries, it's a special kind of resistance. It's very much a guilt, and sometimes it might even feel wrong. Like this feels wrong though because your whole life you've been operating this way, and it's like, well, I should be helpful. I should be kind. I should be giving. I should be whatever
Mhm.
because that's a good value. That's a good trait. That's who I am. And then it's like
Mhm.
your identity is very much attached to the people pleaser, right?
Right.
And so it really then becomes identity work as well. And then it's like, and then that's a whole other thing because then you feel like you're betraying yourself and your values and your, you know, yourself, and then it's a whole self-abandonment thing that you got to work through. So it's layered. But
Yeah.
there's a lot, surprisingly there's a lot that goes into it. And again, you don't have to overthink and overcomplicate it. For some it's just like, oh, the minute I'm aware that I need to do it, then you can do it. But for some people who are really, really attached to being the people pleaser as their identity, like that's what they're known for, you know, they're the ones who hold everything and they're the ones that do everything for everyone, and they pride themselves on that, then that's going to be really hard for them to then set boundaries. It is identity shifting.
Hmm. Yeah, and I guess one thing that helped me, I totally pissed some people off by setting boundaries, totally. But then I had to, like, there is no way, there is no other way, right? And so I guess the one thing that helped me to overcome that is that, well, I'm growing, they're not. I'm a different person now, you know, and I'm sort of, I guess I'm dying for them. The old me is dying,
Mm-hmm.
so
Ego death, yeah. No, 100%. But I also, so another thing that's coming up is also what is connected to that identity or identity shift. So if, for example, you're a people pleaser and then boundary setting, like saying no, or that the person that you are going to then be becoming is a kind of person that you have associated in your mind subconsciously to someone that you don't like, or like a narcissist, you know, if you've been through trauma and whatever, then you'll really like resist that as well and be like, but I don't want to be like that person. And that person always had really strong boundaries, like everything was like no, 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 and I'm not doing, you know. So it's also looking into the associations that you have with those kinds of things, and working through them, and then it's like self-limiting beliefs in a way, you know. It's like, what are the associations and what are the beliefs around that kind of person or that kind
mhm.
of behavior, and reframing it and reconditioning.
What are some boundaries women are not setting in the business context when they should? Some, what are some common patterns maybe?
I'd say time, is the first one that comes to mind. I feel that in business we probably don't value our, especially at the beginning, I think, of entrepreneurship of your business, you don't value your time as much. You want to give and over deliver and over give, and to kind of prove yourself and prove your worth, and then um, you realize you're giving a lot of your time. Other boundaries are around how accommodating you can be with payment plans or payment things. I think it's quite varied. It could be with anything. Time, money. What else in business context?
I don't know, maybe the type of clients. Um,
Definitely. So I believe at first, this is the thing though. I don't believe in like shoulds and rules and whatever. I believe when it comes to boundaries, it is also very subjective, very personal. And I think that at the beginning of a business, it's going to be a lot more fluid. You're going to be giving more of your time because you do want to prove yourself. You're just starting out, right? And I think also then with pricing and stuff like that, you want to be a little bit more accommodating because you're just trying to get your foot in the door and get people in, right? And then with who the kind of clients. At first, I just said I wanted to work with women struggling with their mental health. It was very open, and I worked with some men as well, over the years, but it was very open, and then now it's becoming more and more boundaried, but also I'm filtering more, like, because I know who I want to work with more and who I can best get results for, and that's also okay, that there is a specific kind of demographic that are going to benefit the
Mhm.
most from my method, and there's going to be a demographic that are not a good fit for my method because it is fast, it is intensive, it is, I'm all about efficiency. And so someone who literally needs talk therapy, they just need to talk and talk and talk and go over it and over it and over it, they're not going to benefit from my approach at all, because it's going to be like, hold on, I want to talk about la, la, la. And I'm just like, okay, but we're moving on to the, like, we need change, we're implementing this, and they're not ready to even implement yet. So it's
Right.
actually very important, and more so, um, ethically kind of responsible to have boundaries.
That's such a good point, eh?
Yeah.
That's such a good point. You know the way people struggle to select their target audience. This is actually even good for marketing purposes,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there is something in our society, in people's heads, whatever the hell is going on, but people really, really struggle with the very first step, deciding who their target audience is.
But I think that's also FOMO. I think we're conditioned to believe that if we don't
There is not
speak to
enough
everyone,
people.
we'll miss out on someone. And it's like the fear of
Mm,
missing out. But when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. And people, it really is a struggle. It's been a struggle for me for the whole time of my business. It really is a struggle to get over that conditioning, that piece.
yeah.
That, like, the more specific you are about who you're speaking to,
Yes.
then the more likely you are to actually resonate with someone.
But I am gonna use the word boundaries for
Mm-hmm.
marketing purposes. This is
Yeah.
such a
It's
good
ethically
twist,
responsible.
such a good angle,
Mm-hmm.
actually. So, what are your boundaries in terms of who you're gonna work with, who you can help? So, this is boundaries for yourself as well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? Who can I actually help?
And it's a very strategic as well, because my agenda as a business owner is to get the best results for my clients.
That's
Their
it.
wins are my wins, right? So it's business, it's like literally strategic to make sure I filter for the exact right person and demographic for my services.
So good. Very good. Okay, so how do you use the angelic numbers? Where do
Oh,
those come in?
I use them to help me feel supported, help me trust the process, help me keep going, help me with any kind of hesitations and self-doubts when they pop up, which they inevitably do always. I'm human. But yeah, I believe that angel numbers have, well, based on what I've read as well, I think I read somewhere that they're like the universe supporting you. Like, it's like a nod, like, keep doing what you're doing, like, you're on the right path,
Mhm.
just keep going. Um, because I don't see a specific number. It's not that I see 444 all the time. I see all the numbers repeated. So it's like 11 11,
Combinations.
20 20, 1 11, 5 5
Same.
5 6. And so I just really do see it as like, you're going through life, and then you see the numbers, and it's just like, oh, okay, okay, fine, I see you, thank you, you see me, okay, I'll keep going. And then la, 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 and it's like, oh, there you are again, okay, cool. Tapping into that magic a little bit, like, I'm being supported, like, I'm what I'm doing is the right thing, gotta keep doing what I'm doing. It's like, I don't think I even get a chance to really doubt my path, because I just feel very validated and supported by whatever forces, maybe, that this is what I have this, like,
Why
knowing.
is that so important to you?
um what, being supported or knowing?
Feeling supported, yeah.
I think it's having gone through years and years and years of feeling lost and unsupported.
I can tell you why that's important to me
Mm-hmm.
as an entrepreneur, especially because it can feel lonely. It, we deal with all sorts of people around us with all sorts of skepticism and even hate. And it might be very easy to start feeling really like alone, right? Sometimes there is no one. But then there is something out there or in there, that is always there.
I completely can. I hear you. I personally haven't experienced that low. Well, maybe I have, but not in. That wasn't the like outstanding feeling. I've very much built like a network and a community. Like I have a lot of online friends and peers and colleagues, and I feel very held, very supported. I have like a biz bestie at any given moment. I always feel held and seen and supported, even if it's not offline in like my real world. It's in my world. Like I've from the beginning, which is quite interesting actually. I take it for granted, but from the beginning, I really just connected. I always look to connect, and just coach each other and support each other and bounce off each other and brainstorming. Like I've always had like a community feeling around me. Like I've always met women, and even if that biz bestie then kind of goes on and does her own thing and we drift away apart, then I found another one. Like I'm very open to, if
And
someone leaves, then
yeah,
I'll sit.
totally. And I'm like, I never feel lonely as a person, ever.
Okay.
I don't, that doesn't happen to me. Like in life as a person, no. And I, I'm in communities, I have communities, but there's little
Mm-hmm.
moments where, I don't know, some decision needs to be made, which is just on me and me alone. Something,
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
the little things.
Then yes.
It's not a global loneliness. Yeah, there's people all over the place, everywhere. Sometimes it's almost like, oh my God, I know people in every country.
It's crazy.
At some point I was even saying, because last summer actually I met with some people in France, specifically, and then somewhere else, business related, like and I was like, oh my God, that's how I need to travel from now on. Just go to, because it's like been there, done that, whatever. So how about just traveling to places where I can meet all these people that I know through my business. They're everywhere. It's amazing.
It is. It is pretty mind blowing. But I get what I hear you on the like making decisions and like when it comes to to some of the thing again, I feel like I have me. I am my own best resource, right? And I feel
Yeah.
that you have you. We all have ourselves. And I feel that that's a relationship that I've really, really nurtured and um really I focus on that a lot. Like in my group program and in my work, I'm like, I want to help you realize that you have you. Like at the end of the day, it's the only person you actually have,
Mm.
right? You're stuck with you forever.
Yeah.
This is like the relationship with you is the most relationship
Yeah.
you have, most important relationship you have. Um, but then you are your own best resource as well. So whatever it is, like you've overcome every obstacle and every decision. Like you've gotten through everything, so you'll get through whatever this is as well. And nowadays we have Chat GPT as well. So nowadays, if I'm stuck on something, I just ask Chat. And
I
sometimes
know.
it's like giving me an answer, and I'm like, oh no. But then I've answered myself through that. I would just be like, okay, so
It's
not. So I still get to the answer, but it's very handy.
it is, isn't it?
Really
And
handy.
okay, so somebody listening and feeling stuck, like
Hmm.
she's dying to create life on her terms, but she's stuck. She hit some sort of ceiling, and she's listening to us, and she's thinking, because I years ago happened to me, I no longer knew like what it meant or what it looked like to say even be authentic, right? In my business. And I know like it's very important. I want it. It can happen, but I didn't know how to get there to that place where it's hiding. What the hell is going on? So for somebody in that place, like in that kind of situation right now, what could you say would be some immediate steps she could take?
It's funny, I literally had this conversation this morning with my clients. Okay, so two things. First of all, when it comes to authenticity, I would say that whoever you are right now, even lost and even confused and even not knowing whatever, that's you in your authentic self right now. That is, that's what you're experiencing right now. That's who you, this is who you are right now. That's your authentic you right now. You feel like there's more down there, like you feel like you haven't got to that thing yet, then okay, but your authentic self is the one, the version of you right now who feels she has like something, to uncover. And by the way, that's very much how I show up in my business. Like I am authentically me in the moment. I'm not performative. I don't feel like, oh, I have to do this, or I have to sound like this, or I have to, I'm marketing, I'm promoting my group, so I have to have a hook and I have to have whatever. It's just like, hey, Facebook, I want to talk about my group program. I'm thinking how to talk about it. And literally that's how I would begin, because that's just who I am right now. That's what I'm thinking about. And that's how, like, that's me being authentic, right? That's me. But I would say that a reframe, the breakdown, if you lean into it and see it for what it is, it leads you to the breakthrough. So circling back to my annual meltdown,
Right.
I had my annual meltdown a few weeks ago, and so I can speak to this very fresh. I every so often, once a year or so, I have a proper fuck off breakdown where I'm just like, just like imploding. And I know that it's breaking through to something. The breakdown is part of the rebuild. Like something needs to crash and burn so that I'm rebuilding the next thing. It's called positive disintegration is like the theory that really helped me with
Is
this.
it business related annual meltdown or is it
No,
global?
global. It's everything altogether. Because for me, business is an extension of me. So like my business. So
Mm.
it's all of it together. But it actually, like, so this year my breakdown was actually feeling like I realized I was burning out in a way. Like I really just felt too much. I've taken too much on. I can't handle everything by myself. Something has to give. I have to have a boundary. Like I have to delegate something. I have to, like, and I really thought, am I going to have to take a break from my business? And the minute later, I was like, fuck no, that's not happening. Like, that is not going to happen. And so I really have to bite the bullet and do the scary thing and hire a VA. Like, I've been on the fence about it for years because I'm like, I know I'm going to have a team, but when, like, a chicken or the egg, is it that I hire someone and then it helps me with the business scaling? Or do I
Mm.
have to scale the business first and, hustle a bit and then I'll have the money to hire? And I was really back and forth about this. And then until this meltdown a few weeks ago. Um, and I was just like, okay, I hit the point where I have to make a decision, like at a crossroads, but it's like the meltdown. I had to get, like, you have to hit rock bottom to then change something, right? And I hit the rock bottom of whatever space I was in at the time, and I was just like, okay, what has to change then? Like, I can't, it's not sustainable. I cannot continue like this. I've got 3 children. I'm doing my PhD, running a business, running big
Mm.
home. Like, I just can't do this. And so I said, I'm hiring help. What can I hire help with? Easiest first right now with the business and childcare. So those are 2 things I'm going to look at today. Like, that's it. Literally, I think it was Friday. I had my breakdown. Saturday, I was like, ding, that's the decision. I'm just hiring help. And then I
Mm.
think on the Monday, I realized who it was I was going to hire. I was like, oh, this is a genius idea. And she's not a VA. She's a client of mine. And I was like, do you have a minute for a call quickly? And I was like, listen, before I even talk to my husband about this, before I even like whatever, like, are you open to maybe being my VA? Because I know this would benefit you and like that, but you're like a perfect fit. I couldn't think of anyone better, but I
Mm.
know that this isn't your business. Would you be okay with it? And she was just like, yeah, la, la, la. And literally best decision of my, like, game
Really.
changer. It is perfection, and it was timing, believing in timing. The universe sent me her, like, just at the right, like, exactly. It kind of worked out better. And then with the childcare, I was like, babysitter, and who am I going to trust with my baby? He's like one, like, I don't know, la la la. And I live on an island in
Oh
a
my,
little fishing
yeah.
village, and I'm just like, who? And then my cleaner, who I love, and she's like family to us, she was like, she has another job. And I was like, could you maybe give 2 hours in the middle of like the day here and there? And she was just
Oh,
like, yeah, 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 okay. And so she comes, even though she's working in her remote job, she comes here and watches the baby at the same time. And I'm just like, this couldn't work out better. So
I'm
yeah, it all
waiting
works
for
out.
somebody. We had in Ireland, we had a cleaner as well, and she was also sitting our cats. And she's moving to Lithuania. I've been waiting for her for forever now, to move to Lithuania, as well. So she's moving soon. So I'm so happy.
She's so much more than our cleaner though. Like she's, when I gave birth, she was here with the baby,
I
with the
know
other
she's
kids
a
and slept. And she's like
right.
the
We're
dog sitter, the
friends
house
now.
sitter, the everything. She's just an extra family member now.
I know she's now on holidays in Lithuania, blah blah, sorting out certain things. We are friends. She feels like family member. She was over. I went to visit her, whatever, it's such a game changer. But you know what I want to applaud you for is actually, and thank you for, on behalf of the women entrepreneurs and just busy women, for actually pointing that out and actually saying that out loud, the meltdown, annual meltdown. Most women are hiding things like that. Most women think that's not okay.
Hmm.
Most women beat themselves up for things like that. And I wish more women could actually acknowledge the reality. And I know we are conditioned to feel bad about our reality and or talking about it.
Like, look, I hate asking for help. I'm not gonna lie. I hate even asking my husband to help me out. It's just like I've been known to cry. Like I get to the point
Mm,
where I'm crying because I'm like, oh, I need help. I can't do it, and I really want to be able to do everything by myself. I want to be a superwoman. Like I really do
yeah.
want to do that, and that's the way I am. But I definitely I'm very open book, honest. Like I say it as it is, and I appreciate that. Thank you for the applause. But I do back to the breakdown piece though. I think that when you're able to look at a breakdown as the step before the breakthrough, and it's part of it, meaning like the breakdown is an important piece of it. There's something going on that is like it's
Exactly.
I was even going through, I wouldn't call it a breakdown because again I look at things differently, but I was having, I think it was a few days ago, I had my period and I felt like I'd been hit by a truck and I was so heavy and so tired, and that never happens. And I'm like, what is going on? Like something with my, like physically, I felt like I got the flu, but I didn't have any flu symptoms. I'm like, what is happening? And I had quite a few things going on. And like my dog, I think we may have to put her down, one of our dogs.
Mm,
Um, and then that marks kind of like the end of a chat. Like there was all these different things coming in, and I'm like, I think my body just says rest and process. And I just cried. I like let the feelings flow through me, and like I
mm,
allowed myself to just not do anything that day. I slept extra and I chilled, and I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna do any work today. And I said to hubby, like, I'm out of order today. Like something's going on. I don't know what it
mm,
is. I even reached out in a group, women's group, like, what could this be? Because this is very strange, But being curious and open to, like, I felt like I was shedding something, like something was like I was
mm,
processing something, and my body was like feeling even physically the effects of that. And I feel that when we have a breakdown, that's something to listen to, not push through, not try and emotionally, spiritually bypass, I don't know what, like however you want to call it. Like, no, like lean into it. Like, okay, there's a reason I'm breaking down right now. What's going on for me, right?
mm,
Um, the first time I remember I leaned into the breakdown, I remember I still had a therapist as a shrink at the time. I went to the shrink. I said, I think I'm having an existential crisis. I said, I think I'm having like identity crisis. Like, who am I? What's happening? What's going on? It was like dark night of the soul kind of thing. I was freaking the fuck out. And she was just like, I can't help you. Okay. And I remember I went home and for 8 hours, I think, I was Googling like existential crisis, identity crisis. And I was reading, trying to figure out, like, find an answer, something like what can help me, what is happening. And I landed on positive disintegration. Dabrowski, this Polish psychologist, came up with a theory for gifted children called positive disintegration, where you feel like everything is crashing around you, like
Mm,
the your paradigm, your worldview is just been crushed. Like things are
mm,
not the way they seemed. When you're questioning things and you're conditioning and you're reconditioning, like everything just comes like crashing down at some point. But then you get to rebuild from that in a way that makes sense with your new kind of worldview. And
mm.
that for me, I was just like, oh, this is what it is. And it has all these levels and it like really, you can Google it, positive disintegration. And that really helped me. And that was the first time that I was like, wow, I can have a breakdown. I can have a crisis and be my own best resource. I have me. I can
Mm.
figure it out. I can get educated. I can find the answer. Like I am my own best healer. I'm the one that knows me and what's happening. And I can understand that and I can learn about what's happening inside and la la la. So yeah, that was a
Wow.
breakthrough moment too.
Wow. So allow yourself to break down so you can break through.
Well, challenges are opportunities. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way. So like if, especially if you have a recurring challenge, it means you haven't
Yeah.
leaned into what it's trying to
That is
teach
a
you.
very good, that's a very good um, insight. Yeah. Very cool. Listen, it feels like we just started talking, but
We could probably continue for a while, yeah.
right, it's been quite a bit longer than an hour. And there is still so much to dive into, really. And so maybe
We
another
could do
time.
another one.
Yeah.
Happily. No
It's
worries.
really, really cool. And thank you for being here. Now, okay, so you told us about what you do. Where can people find you if they want to follow you or connect with you?
I'm on most of the platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook, Emily Katz. Instagram and TikTok, currently the self change scientist, but I like to evolve regularly and change. So who knows what it will be in a year or two. But my website currently is emilykatzconsulting.com. But yeah, Facebook is probably where I live most of the time, but Emily Katz.
Yeah, very cool. I'll put the links in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here and sharing.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing, and the person listening, definitely follow Emily, connect with her. She has a lot to teach you.
I'd love to connect
And
and I'd also love to hear takeaways. I always really like to see what like stood out for people. I always ask to hear that if anyone feels brave enough or open enough to share what really stood out for them or what helped. That
absolutely,
like makes my day.
absolutely. Yeah, please share your thoughts in the comments and also reach out if you feel like it. So, anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.